Time for the business, people. Why? It is a Friday morning on the SportsGrid Network. This is the early line, and what a show we have for you. What happened last night? Well, your boy DRS said, I don't think anybody wants to lay 15.5 out there with OKC. The Lakers need this game. Ba-boom! Close game in the fourth quarter turns into a cover for OKC. Love that for your boy DRS. But as we move on to the city of brotherly love, which we'll get to, didn't work out all that well last night. Special teams, anybody out here? How about Major League Baseball? Exciting days yesterday, but also let's look forward to tonight's action on the ice. Tonight's action in Major League Baseball. Tonight's action once again in Philadelphia with the 76ers and the New York Knicks. A doubleheader in the NBA, Joe. Sometimes we say it. Friday's payday. And do we have enough time to get through all these topics?
Got a lot going on, Donnie. I mean, it's great. I think, don't we have WNBA starting as well, I believe, here tonight. So welcome back, WNBA, and a lot to be excited about here, Donnie. I'm ready to roll on a Friday.
Yeah, and also FIFA's ticket prices came out as well. We'll get to that in just a little bit, but now it's time on a Friday. If you are tired and you need energy for today, my guy Joe Raineri has your cup of coffee delivered. Extra caffeination with this hot topic.
Yeah, Don, it wasn't a good day yesterday because, well, now we need to talk about the bunch of greedy, out-of-touch suits in the NCAA league office who just unanimously voted to absolutely nuke the greatest postseason setup in all of sports. That is right. Yesterday we learned it is officially a done deal. Starting in 2027, the men's and women's NCAA tournaments are expanding to 76 teams. Not a single dissenting, level-headed vote among the entire committee in that room. They all happily held their hands and drove the product right off a cliff. And listen, we've been doing this for a long time, Donnie, and I don't know about you, but it's getting easier and easier to spot a corporate bailout from a mile away. The NCAA is trying to spin this as, we're creating additional participation opportunities. No, you're not. It's an absolute joke. They are handing out participation trophies to mediocre, massive budget programs who, by the way, Donnie, likely operate in the red. So let's be brutally honest about who this expansion is actually for, because it's not for the schools. It's not for the student athletes. No. Before the casuals start celebrating how great this is for the mid-majors of the world like the Belmonts, let me stop you. This is not for the Cinderella programs. This is a complete bailout for the power conferences. It's designed to let an overwhelmingly average Indiana, Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech backdoor their way into the dance after finishing 8th or 9th in their own conference. The 68-team format was absolute perfection, as close as you could get to it. And these people just ruined it for a few extra bucks. And here's what they destroyed, too, by the way. The regular season, we've talked about it. We talked about college football killing its regular season. Well, college basketball just said, hold my beer, because conference tournaments and regular season records, well, they're now severely diminished. And the true Cinderella, the tournament used to reward the mid-majors that got hot and won their conference tournament. Now those bids will get completely drowned out by a sea of power conference mediocrity. And don't get me started on how it completely ruins the rhythm of the greatest gambling week of the year. So why did they do it? Well, the NCAA literally spelled it out in their own press release. $131 million in new revenue distributions, and by the way, it opens up alcohol sponsorships. And like we always say, Donnie, follow the money. It's never about the competitive purity of the sport or the student athletes. It's entirely about the profit margins. And now, Donnie, you have to seriously wonder how much longer it's going to be before they just scrap the conference tournaments altogether.
Ooh, I actually would like that as well, Joe. More teams in expansion is good. I'm going to have some counterpoints to that in just a few moments, but that's how we get down to business on a Friday. Friday is payday. And now, Joe, we get into those early line hot topics, which includes Aaron Rodgers. He's going to fly in this weekend. Give a list of demands to Mike McCarthy. If you want me back so we can go one game or so over 500, I am ancient. You better give me all the demands that I want. This man's 42 years old. And by the way, Steelers, is it time to move on or not? Aaron Rodgers looks like he wants to hold those Steelers hostage one more time.
No, that's going to be put up or shut up time, right? So I'm fairly certain they will likely give him whatever he wants. McCarthy knows him. He knows what he's dealing with. So he's going to have to do a great, I don't know if it's that big a sales job, but he is just going to have to listen to Aaron and give him whatever he wants. I mean, that is true leverage right there, Donnie.
All right, so now we talk about March Madness and the expansion of the tournament. Here's some real numbers, Joe, we can sink our teeth into. If we go back to 1985, we were sitting there with 64 teams, up from an expansion the previous year at 53. Now, also in 1984, we had 282 Division I men's college basketball teams. So if you were looking at the 64 teams and it almost doubles from the early 1980s, we would be screaming, you ruined the tournament, you bozos, putting an extra 30 teams in there. So now fast forward to 64 teams based in 1984, as we said, 1985, and Villanova wins that in the shot clock in Georgetown. We'll move off of that. But now, Joe, 76 teams are getting in. Oh, no, but did you know, Joe, there were 282 teams back in 1985. There's 365 Division I teams now. More places at the table, more teams to get in. Not that bad of an option. It just isn't. See what happens, but next year, more money in the pockets, Joe. Look at it. Expansion.
Yeah, which one of those 360? Wait, no. I'm sorry. Which one of those 365 teams currently doesn't have a chance to make the tournament?
But that's not about what the tournament is about in NCAA action.
Okay.
It's a melting pot. Let them into the 10. You get blown out week one. You celebrate
participation trophies.
Yes.
Gotcha. Yes, I got you.
Give the people what they want, Joe. Everybody wants to tell their grandkids, I played in the NCAA tournament. Just giving a couple more teams a chance to do that here. How about... Go ahead. What do you got, Joe? That's
go ahead. I got you. I got.
All right.
Yes, more mediocrity. That's what we strive for in college athletics.
Real Madrid training ground fight leads to traumatic brain injury. What are we doing in Real Madrid? Is it that serious, Joe?
All right, can we just eliminate headers if we're just going to add 97 teams to all of these different tournaments? Can we just eliminate headers and get these guys safe? These poor guys, they can't even use their hands. And they got more head injuries than anybody knows what to do with. Unreal.
Now, by the way, Joe, back-to-back topics on Real Madrid. We're talking here on a Friday with NBA action, NCAA action, interesting stuff popping up here on a timeline. And we got to talk about Mbappe to release, reaching for it. What are we talking about? Real Madrid back-to-back, Joe. We could have had this as a little simple column down the stretch here.
Well, when you make $250 million a year like Mbappe, I guess you got to make the headlines, right? He doesn't make $2 million a year. He's not a backup third baseman. Yes, he is a generational talent that apparently is making headlines that nobody cares about.
Exactly. NFL, by the way, this is what we do care about. A little Netflix and chill. They get another football game. Week 1, Rams 49ers. I believe this game is going to be played in Australia. So we're in Australia and we're on Netflix, Joe. Rewind about 10 years in the NFL. Say, by the way, you're going to watch a game on Netflix. There's going to be sports on Netflix and the game's going to be in Australia. I don't believe you. Believe it, Joe. It's happening.
Listen, I heard they're already, experimenting with AstroTurf on the moon, Donnie. So don't give them any ideas. We could very well have a game there sooner rather than later.
And by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe. The game's going to be played on a Friday, but technically on a Thursday. But it's a Thursday, but it's a Friday in Australia. It doesn't make sense. It's Looney Tune world at this point. My Philadelphia Flyers down 0-3. We'll get more of that later. Special teams, people. That's what it comes down to in the Los Angeles Lakers. Hey, they didn't cover. I told you OKC would get it done. And I can't believe that the Los Angeles Lakers did not cover that game, but I'm happy about it.
It's tough to beat OKC on your own. It's really tough to beat OKC in the refs. Very difficult.
Coverage, people. Get the cover. That's all important here. We got hot topics and much more coming to you on a Friday right here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe and Donnie. Be right back.
We are going to be strapped with a whole lot of bad football, watching mediocre teams that have absolutely no business in the postseason getting blown off the field by the elite heavyweights, all for our viewing pleasure. They are even willing to trample right over the historic Army-Navy game, which apparently, we'll figure out at one point where we can play this game.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I don't blame David Stearns at all for looking at the team and saying, hey, look, with this high payroll and with all the players we have, Donnie, they have not won anything. They did not even get in the postseason last year. So like, all right, let's break it up and try something new. But their new plan has not worked. It doesn't look good on paper. It doesn't look good in the standings. Even if the Mets were to play okay the rest of the season, I think their season is a wrap.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all four.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
Betting growth was up about 40% year over year in March. So some of that obviously was the NCAA tournament, but a lot of that is because DraftKings and FanDuel were coming to town and bringing a lot of money with them. It was about $87 million was bet in the month of March, which is not only a March record, but it's a record for Arkansas in general. And it was really interesting to note too, DraftKings and FanDuel were only active for about 12 days.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Joe, we're going to talk some spread lines here in just a few moments. But I want to add this in because Joe and I have been on top of this since we started hearing about every single thing that sports touches. The ratings are through the roof, and now trillion-dollar contracts are on the way. Hear me out, Joe. The WNBA is opening their season tonight. It's May 8th. Fantastic, right? So you say to yourself, if you had one game and one team to put on prime time to open your season, which team in the WNBA would you pick, Joe?
Well, you would think Indiana, right? You would think that they'd want to garner some eyeballs there, but that I don't think that's going to happen because I don't see them anywhere on the schedule.
All right. So today we have Mystics Tempo, Sun Liberty, Valkyries, and Storm. So say, oh, I get it. They're going to give a prime time slot here over the weekend so you can sit back and enjoy what's going to take place with the Fever. And by the way, they lined up the Fever against the Wings. Superstars galore on both sides there. Joe, 1 o'clock Saturday for that game.
What time did you say? We're still sleeping.
O'clock
I'm still on the golf
Saturday.
Course. Come on.
Yeah.
That's absurd.
There you go. And again, we're not going to handicap. I just wanted to point that out. Two superstar-laden teams here that you skip on opening night, and then you put them at 1 o'clock on a Saturday. WNBA. Interesting stuff. Let's get over to the NBA where maybe we'll get more ratings because this will be prime time tonight. Is it in Philadelphia? Yes, it is. It's the Knicks. Philadelphia 76ers. Did you know, Joe, the Knicks actually opened up as a minus 1 point favorite at most books? Look at it today. The Philadelphia 76ers, minus 1.5 with a total of 213.5. Questions all over the place. OG Anunoby, hamstring issues. Yeah, he's not playing tonight. They didn't tell you that yet. He's out tonight. Joel Embiid, that's the big question here, Joe. I need a spread line tonight with so many people in that starting lineup injured, getting ready for the game tonight.
It's absurd, Donnie. I mean, what would it be? The NBA playoffs second round without some sort of hamstring injury? It's getting laughable at this point here. I just don't ever remember the Kobe Bryants of the world. I just don't remember Jordans of the world. Like, who was pulling hamstrings in the middle after they played 82 games? It's just beyond me here. But they are going to have to play, and they're going to have to play for their lives here, Philadelphia, with or without Embiid. So does Anunoby hurt that the Knicks won't have him? Absolutely. I mean, the guy's the second leading scorer, almost 22 points this postseason alone. But again, the Knicks, listen, we've seen the Sixers manage without Embiid in this postseason we're going to have to see the Knicks, with one of their main guys. But I think the Knicks have a little more depth here. They have a few more options they can roll out. The bottom line for the Sixers is they need to make this game count. Can't go down 3-0. It's throw the kitchen sink at the Knicks. It's priced this way for a reason, Donnie. Don't forget, they were a 7-point dog at the Garden, and now they're home. And what are they, a favorite? A 1-point That's a huge line swing there without knowing if Embiid's going or not. I think Embiid goes. I think the Sixers get one back here tonight, and I think this series rolls on.
Sham Sharani, a tweet this afternoon. Get ready for it. Have those, notifications on. Embiid in, Embiid out, Embiid at shoot around, and away we go. San Antonio Spurs and the Minnesota Timberwolves. This isn't a 2-0 series, Joe. It's 1-1. The Spurs did really get back on the horse in game number 2, but now game number 3 in Minnesota. This line opened up, Joe, around 3.5, but game day today, we're seeing 4.5s in the marketplace in a total of 215 to 216.5, depending on where you're shopping at. Spurs T-Wolves, game number 3 in Minnesota, Joe. What's the spread line tonight?
Well, again, if you have Anthony Edwards coming off the bench and you're still limiting his minutes because you're worried about his knee, this is not a great situation for Minnesota. The Spurs are coming in after righting the ship in a big way after game 1. Now, again, remember, the Spurs don't have any experience in this spot. The Timberwolves have it all, but the Timberwolves are also the walking mash unit here. So it's going to be good for the Timberwolves to get home. I think this is going to be a very tight game, a very good game. But as you can tell, the market doesn't think Minnesota being at home is going to move the needle all that much, Donnie, because they're still the underdog here, and it's rising now. 4.5s, 5s we're starting to see. And I just think we're at the point in the postseason, right, where the injuries matter. This is, it's a marathon, not a sprint, but my goodness, I don't know how much more the Timberwolves can handle. I think the Spurs, they take a commanding 2-1 lead here and impose their will in this game.
Game 2 in Buffalo. Let's switch it over to the ice. A doubleheader in the NHL. Game number 1, Montreal and Buffalo. 7 o'clock start tonight. Slight favorite for those Buffalo Sabres. -132 to -135 price in a total of 5.5. Exciting game number 1 went to Buffalo. Game number 2 tonight, Joe. What's the spread line here for you?
Well, we saw a lot of goals in that first one there. 5.5 was that total. And we said, that seems a little light here, but I don't know. Alex Leon has caught fire for the Sabres in goal here. And now, of course, the Habs have to, you really want to go 2-0? Is that what you want to do? Or 0-2 rather? Yeah. So I think you're going to see, it looked like Montreal still coming out of that game 7 against Tampa. Took them a little while to get their legs under them. I think you're going to see a different Montreal team here tonight. Unlike the game 1, I think this one's going to stay lower scoring, Donnie. I think this one stays under the 5.5.
Game 3, 1-1 series headed back to Anaheim. That's going to be Vegas in town to take on those Ducks here. Look at this total, 6.5 across the board, and a slight favorite for Vegas, around a -115 price. Almost a pick 'em in this game. Should be entertaining out in Anaheim tonight. Joe, what's the spread line for you here?
Yeah, well, not a lot of travel for either of these teams, which is great, Donnie. But, again, I'm still under the mindset that it was a nice 3-1 was that score in the last game, but I really don't want to sweat out another under here. I think Anaheim at home, I think they kick it into another gear. I think we get a ton of goals in this game here tonight.
Who's stopping Tampa Bay today, Joe? It's up to Boston. The young pitcher, the lefty on the mound early, is going to be going to get Schlattens, and a favorite for Boston, Joe, between -140 to -135 right now, depending where you're shopping at, in a total of 8.5. Tampa Bay, red hot, taking on Boston. What's that spread line?
Can't step in front of that train. Tampa's just doing it all right. You've heard of none of their pitchers, and yet here they are continuing to win games and make it look easy, Donnie. I don't like the Red Sox at all. I think this is a team in total disarray.
There are your spread lines for the day, Joe. Next segment, Dr. Donnie is going to take center stage. Why? We're talking hamstrings. I'm the authority, Joe, on hamstrings. And I'll tell you about it more next. Right here on
hamsters? Did he say hamsters?
Hamsters.
We are going to be strapped with a whole lot of bad football, watching mediocre teams that have absolutely no business in the postseason getting blown off the field by the elite heavyweights, all for our viewing pleasure. They are even willing to trample right over the historic Army-Navy game, which apparently, we'll figure out at one point where we can play this game.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I don't blame David Stearns at all for looking at the team and saying, hey, look, with this high payroll and with all the players we have, Donnie, they have not won anything. They did not even get in the postseason last year. So they're like, all right, let's break it up and try something new. But their new plan has not worked. It doesn't look good on paper. It doesn't look good in the standings. Even if the Mets were to play okay the rest of the season, I think their season is a wrap.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all four.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
Betting growth was up about 40% year over year in March. So some of that obviously was the NCAA tournament, but a lot of that is because DraftKings and FanDuel were coming to town and bringing a lot of money with them. It was about $87 million was bet in the month of March, which is not only a March record, but it's a record for Arkansas in general. And it was really interesting to note too, DraftKings and FanDuel were only active for about 12 days.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The business of the NBA, Joe. We said, like, you know what? Ratings are up because they're up everywhere, but players are getting paid crazy amounts of money. The NBA is what we wait for the postseason because we don't really like the regular season that much. But when I ask you this simple question, Joe, right? I'll start here. The EPL over there in the UK, right? Maybe the best league in the world, superstars all the way around, extremely lucrative to the owners in that league. So I ask you, Joe, do we ever get news and notes where the EPL is like, you know what? We're investing in teams in America. Why don't we hear that, Joe?
We never hear that, Donnie. Is it? Do we have a thesis here? What are you thinking?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let me, which is a great question you ask here. So the most successful soccer league in the world is like, no, we're good. We have a great product. We treat our fans with respect. And somehow every year, our league also grows in monetary funds, and it's more expensive to buy teams because we do it right and we focus on what matters. So the NBA goes, we have the best product in the world for pro basketball. Let's go invest overseas here, see if we can build it over there. So, Sports Business Journal, Joe. The NBA adjusts the business model of its proposed Europe League, informing bidders it will invest more than $3 billion to offset early losses and keep teams solvent. So they're basically telling you, we're throwing bad money out there, hoping it works. We have the greatest product. We have everybody in the world wanting to be in our league. Our fans in the United States love it for the most part, but let's alienate that fan base that built us here. It's a worldwide game. Let's invest more in Europe, Joe. I do. Focus on the fans that pay your tickets and keep your league the greatest in the world. Why can't we just understand this model that soccer uses that makes sense?
Is there an NFL influence happening here, Donnie, where expansion, and because correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't the NBA in Europe at one time, didn't we? I know the NFL was, and boy, that didn't work out all that well.
Ryan Fire?
Yeah, I'm just is it just keeping up with the Joneses here where, we've got to try and put the NBA brand as many places as humanly possible? Isn't that what G Leagues are for? I mean, what? I don't understand here, Donnie. I thought they already had enough leagues overseas.
It's like Chick-fil-A. If you go there, what do they serve? They make a really good chicken sandwich. And when I go there, I just want that chicken sandwich here. And then all of a sudden, Chick-fil-A goes, we're going to slow down the time on this chicken. we're going to make cheesesteaks and also cheeseburgers. And they'd be like, well, wait a second. I don't come here for that. And now you're not paying attention to what make you great. It doesn't make sense at this point. Just keep it here. On the mainland, you'll be fine and you'll all be billionaires to work this out. Now, billionaires do buy basketball teams show in the NBA and they say, you know what? This is a lot of fun. Some billionaires say, I just want my team to win. All expenses, I'm going to handle it. Let's go out and chase championships. Not the case in Portland. Thiago Splitter is unlikely to land a full-time head coaching position there with the Blazers. So now they go, we're going to interview upwards of 30 people for the role. So what does that mean, Joe? The owner's in his office, 30 people lined up outside. He brings them in. How much you think you should make? Get out. I'm not even going to interview yet. Next, how much do you think you should? Get out of here. Next, what are we doing and why would you want to be the head coach in Portland, Joe?
Why would you want to play in Portland at that point is my question, Donnie. I don't, listen, if you're not going to pay the coach, then who are you paying exactly here? Like which of these young guys is actually going to be like, yeah, sign me, I can't wait to stay. No. This was the same guy that wouldn't pay for certain trainers and staff to fly when they were doing the play-in game. I mean, the whole thing is I don't get it. Apparently, I mean, it wasn't just the WNBA's complaint, right? Like the NBA owners made them sit and you got to sit and coach. But now you've got an NBA owner treating his NBA team like that. That's going to work out really well in 2026.
Yeah, thank God they have a CBA because I feel like this guy would be like, well, we can bust to LA. Like, as long as we're not flying to Philadelphia, like we can bust on the West Coast and stay at Motel 6s and you can get McDonald's as opposed to your $300 stipend per day. And by the way, shout out to CBAs there in professional sports where these guys get money on the road to have their meals. It's crazy the way it works out. Now, this next, story. We've signed head coach Charles Lee to a contract. This is the Charlotte Hornets. Joe, I'm telling you, I never heard of the guy and he's getting an extension. So apparently he's always been their coach.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, the guy is, you got to give him credit. A very young team in Charlotte, the biggest turnaround in the NBA this year. So, yeah, it can't all be Popovich as they eventually die off. So at some point, you got to have that next wave, that younger wave that has learned under the previous generation. And I think Charles Lee's doing an amazing job there. And more importantly, he's got the attention of all those young players on Charlotte. And that matters here in the NBA.
It certainly does. I'm going to save this one topic here for the top of the next hour, and that's hamstring injuries and why athletes have no idea the reasoning and if it actually hurts or they should come back. We'll come back after this break.
Be strapped with a whole lot of bad football, watching mediocre teams that have absolutely no business in the postseason getting blown off the field by the elite heavyweights, all for our viewing pleasure. They are even willing to trample right over the historic Army-Navy game, which apparently, we'll figure out at one point where we can play this game.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I don't blame David Stearns at all for looking at the team and saying, hey, look, with this high payroll and with all the players we have, Donnie, they have not won anything. They did not even get in the postseason last year. So they're like, all right, let's break it up and try something new. But their new plan has not worked. It doesn't look good on paper. It doesn't look good in the standings. Even if the Mets were to play okay the rest of the season, I think their season is a wrap.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all four.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
Betting growth was up about 40% year over year in March. So some of that obviously was the NCAA tournament, but a lot of that is because DraftKings and FanDuel were coming to town and bringing a lot of money with them. It was about $87 million was bet in the month of March, which is not only a March record, but it's a record for Arkansas in general. And it was really interesting to note, too, DraftKings and FanDuel were only active for about 12 days.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Hamstring injuries, Joe. In my high school career, I didn't have any problems with that because, quite frankly, I wasn't big or fast enough or strong enough to actually pop a hamstring. And some people might say, like, well, how come we didn't really hear about this, Joe, like back in the 50s, 60s, or 70s? Well, they weren't as good at athletes and fine-tuned as they are today. Bodies weren't built to be, 3% body fat and 250 pounds of running full speed left and right. Therefore, we pop hamstrings and hurt our knees at this point. So yesterday, I saw the tweet come across with OG Anunoby. Oh, no, hamstring strain, reevaluated and questionable. No, he's going to be out. He's probably going to be out for a couple games, maybe not even returning back to the series. But the reason I bring this up, Joe, is in college, junior year, had a hamstring tweak in the preseason, should I say, in like training camp. Didn't affect me too much in the regular season. But my senior year, I tore my hamstring. I was chasing a record here. I missed 1 week, Joe. And the problem is from my butt cheek down to my knee on the back, it was completely black and blue. But you're not redshirting in a Division III sport here, and you got to get back on the field, and you need some things to help you get back out there, which is some good medication on game day. But athletes, fine-tuned, Joe, they never understand what this injury is about because when it happens, it doesn't necessarily hurt so bad that you get, oh, my goodness, like I can't walk. You can walk. You just can't open it up, which means when you start to get those quick in and out cuts and run, and all of a sudden you might wake up a day or two later, Joe, and it feels pretty good, and you're still weeks away from it being healthy. So for me, Joe, OG Anunoby, I'll tell you right now, we don't need Shams Charania breaking news today. It's not playing tonight, Joe. How about that for Dr. Donnie?
I don't remember a time where especially this many star players and important players on teams in the most important time of the year, Donnie, hamstring. I mean, hamstrings are usually early season injuries where, the training's just not there, the muscles aren't there, and you expect it kind of early on. But, I mean, at this point in the postseason, we're still pulling hamstring. Yeah. We don't have guys like Luka available. I mean, it's like, what are we doing here? I just do not understand this. I cannot remember a time where this many valuable players are all not playing because of hamstring injuries.
Now, granted, I'm getting older there, approaching 50 years old. Joe, do you remember the last – have you ever pulled a hamstring in your life?
Yes, I did. And yes,
how long ago
I played on it. Oh, this was back early college days. Yes, it was not good. It was not good.
Joe, this was about 10 years ago. Like the dog was barking in the backyard and I was in the front yard. I said, what the? And so I jogged around the side, Joe, and I pulled my hamstring and I couldn't believe it. Like not being an athlete anymore, just jogging around the side of your house. I pulled my hamstring and it hurt for like 2 weeks, man. It sucks getting old, people. Don't get old out there. Just stay young and healthy. But talking about getting old, maybe it is for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're down 2-0 now, Joe. Why? The Pistons beat them by double digits. And by the way, James Harden, you want to wake up and play some basketball anytime in your career in the playoffs when the games mean something? Pistons, 2-0 lead over the Cavs.
He is just awful. I mean, just absolutely awful. I mean, I'll give Donovan Mitchell credit. I mean, what else is he going to do? He dropped 31 last night at 6 boards. But James Harden, why he is still out on the court? 3 of 13 from the field for 10 points last night. And once again, half a dozen turnovers at the worst time. Like, why is he even on the court? This team looks absolutely just, they're looking at one another on the court and have no idea what to do. It's embarrassing. And I got news for you. I don't know that going to Cleveland is somehow they're going to flip this light switch and all of a sudden be this unbelievably efficient offense. I think Detroit has figured some things out here defensively.
Yeah, sometimes you got to stumble in round number 1 and just barely survive to sort of get back in gear. Maybe they found that here. Let's go to some of these post-game comments here from the two teams.
Fourth quarter and took your first lead since the first possession of the game, and then Detroit closed the game on a 28-16 extended run the rest of the way. Why do you think that you guys could not, I guess, get over the hump again in the fourth quarter?
timely makes by them, timely offensive rebounds, timely misses by us. I think we all that as a collective, and yeah. I mean, I go back and watch the film, but just my initial response is just they countered, and they hit, and they did what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Hey, James Harden, show up, Joe. He's guy's not showing up, man. And by the way, this is not uncommon for him not showing up in the playoffs. By the way, too.
What's with the sunglasses, too, by the way? Like, that game ended at 9 o'clock. Like, what's going on? Number one, what's with the sun? And number two, just answer the question. Like, why do you think that? Why are you guys not James Harden, that's why. Because James Harden sucks. And he's been terrible the entire time. So, I don't know. Just keep it simple. James Harden needs to play less, and they need to play more. And by the way, Mobley, where were you last night? Curious, Did you get lost on the way to the arena? Like, how did that happen, too? Overhyped and overvalued, these Cleveland Cavaliers.
Now, sunglasses at night, Joe. Maybe the 1980s. I'll wear my sunglasses. Maybe that, but the guy's too young for that at this point. Probably never heard of that song. Let me put a timestamp on this story for you, Joe, and I want your reasoning for this. 10:24 p.m. Eastern, May 7th, which was last night, call it 10:30. Foot Locker put out a tweet. No caption needed here. These calls are crazy. What's that about, Joe?
Well, if you're talking about calls and you're talking about refs, I'm going to imagine they were talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder and the fact that they don't get any calls against them. This is an unbelievable team defensively that never fouls, Donnie. It's unreal because they never send anybody to the free throw line. And yet, if you blow at these guys, like if you even look the wrong way at SGA, apparently the whistle goes off, and that was the big complaint last night with the Lakers.
By the way, shout out Foot Locker. And I know sometimes you get back on these topics, Joe, but like growing up, Foot Locker was really big. I don't go to malls are basically like being put out of shape by like Amazon. You can just order from anywhere you want. But if you got a job at Foot Locker, Joe, you had to show up in a referee's uniform to go to work. Like, think about that.
Yep. You on a daily, and then you had to make sure it was clean too, no less, Donnie. Like, that was the other thing. Like, honestly, I had a buddy of mine work there, would use the same uniform, like going, he'd actually go and get his gig after work and just play and then come in and then he'd almost got fired because it was absolutely gross and disgusting. Like, you got to wash that thing, man. That is just terrible.
Like if you're heading in, you stop at the convenience store, get some gas. Like you're in a full ref uniform. You get off of work, you want to get something to eat. You're in a referee's uniform. Shout out to people that worked at Foot Locker, man, with that full uniform. But talking about that uniform and the referees, big questions last night. 125-107 victory, which I love, Joe. I laid the minus 15.5 as a nice public fade, and it came away. Austin Reeves, the much maligned Reeves, actually had 31 points, and also, Joe, almost had his arm torn off during that game.
Yes, he did. And there was a lot. I mean, for what, 3 quarters, Donnie? I mean, it was a close game. And, give credit to the Lakers for keeping it close. But then, what OKC has been doing for a while now, they end up in the fourth quarter, they get to the free throw line a lot. And you know who didn't get to the free throw line a lot, but took a lot of shots inside the paint? And that was LeBron James, and that was the other big complaint last night from J.J. Redick is how does LeBron barely get to the free throw line, and yet SGA's there all the time?
By the way, we do have a video, and I know it's longer than what we have left. Can we just play a snippet of that, of how pissed J.J. Redick was last night? Just give me a little bit of taste here.
Along those lines, I mean, LeBron has, I think, taken 5 free throws here in 2 games. Have you seen him be like attacking and downhill, and are you surprised he hasn't been able to get to the line more?
Well, he gets clobbered on that one, with Jalen Williams coming over trying to block the shot when he spun baseline on Dort. That was in that stretch as well. LeBron has the worst whistle of any star player I've ever seen. I mean, I've been with him 2 years now. There's, again, the smaller guys, because they can be theatric, they typically draw more fouls, and the bigger players that are, built like LeBron,
Joe, we don't have a show on Saturday here, but let me tell you, the Lakers are getting 8.5 points right now at home on Saturday night. We might have to go double header tonight with our best bets on a Friday. We'll be right back after this short break.
We are going to be strapped with a whole lot of bad football, watching mediocre teams that have absolutely no business in the postseason getting blown off the field by the elite heavyweights, all for our viewing pleasure. They are even willing to trample right over the historic Army-Navy game, which apparently, we'll figure out at one point where we can play this game.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I don't blame David Stearns at all for looking at the team and saying, hey, look, with this high payroll and with all the players we have, Donnie, they have not won anything. They did not even get in the postseason last year. So they're like, all right, let's break it up and try something new. But their new plan has not worked. It doesn't look good on paper. It doesn't look good in the standings. Even if the Mets were to play okay the rest of the season, I think their season is a wrap.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all four.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
Betting growth was up about 40% year over year in March. So some of that obviously was the NCAA tournament, but a lot of that is because DraftKings and FanDuel were coming to town and bringing a lot of money with them. It was about $87 million was bet in the month of March, which is not only a March record, but it's a record for Arkansas in general. And it was really interesting to note too, DraftKings and FanDuel were only active for about 12 days.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Joe, there's a part of me that wants to get hype, and there's a part of me that goes, calm down, because you know what these results are going to be. John Heyman sent out a tweet yesterday about Major League Baseball. Viewership for national exclusive Major League Baseball games through the first weekend of May is 2.28 million, a plus 44% increase over last year and the best start in 9 years. I love baseball. I love sports. I love to watch them when things matter, and I think it's important. But it's obvious where, sometimes you get noted on Twitter, like, hey, you put out something stupid, you get community noted. Like, I just feel like these all have to be community noted. Like, we didn't just wake up as a society, Joe, in the last year and be like, sports, yes, I'll watch them when I never watched them before. Can't we have context on these tweets? And again, I love baseball. I hope ratings are through the roof because I genuinely enjoy the game. But there's got to be context to these tweets that every single day we're like, hey, we have 400 million people in the United States, but now everybody all of a sudden watches sports out of nowhere?
Well, consider the source, Donnie, right? I mean, Heyman's writing it. All of these people texting how much they all work in some affiliation or directly with the leagues that employ them. So I can assure you that part of the gig is, yeah, listen, make sure you put out, this is, it's been an unbelievable situation. Every eyeballs, it's great. We're the greatest. We need ad money. And that's how you do it, Donnie. You got influencers there telling everyone if you're not watching it, then you're on the outside looking in.
Joe, whose lobby's bigger right now, though, to be honest? Because ratings are a direct correlation in how much these networks are willing to pay. Networks executives, for the most part, are not stupid people. They're not just going to be like, I believe what you tell me. And wait, I paid $1 billion last time. You're telling me I got to give up $3 billion now because you're telling me the ratings are high? I want to see the counter arguments. But again, Joe, we might have to wait till next September, or unless Nielsen goes, we'll just keep bumping these for the next 10 years like in the housing bubble back in 2008. Eventually, they'll catch up, but we'll make our money in the meantime. Keep an eye on that. But again, I love baseball. I love that its ratings are higher. But come on, man, every tweet, every game is skyrocketing through the roof. It doesn't make any sense. How about this? Now, I like this here. Tarek Skubal undergo successful elbow surgery to remove bone chips, which caused him irritation with a possible timetable of about 2 months. Joe, I was reading about this surgery where they went in like, this might have been the cleanest, best surgery we ever had, and this guy's going to be pitching sooner than later. Have we ever heard, hey, I went in the Scooble's elbow, his arm fell off. Sorry about that, guys. Never going to pitch again. Why is every surgery the best surgery that we've ever seen? Just like the ratings, Joe. We never hear of, oh, they botched that surgery.
Yeah, no, yeah, you won't hear that, Donnie, anytime soon. I can assure you of that. So it's, Dr. James Andrews. How many times we hear Dr. James Andrews? Dr. James Andrews. Dr. James Andrews, the greatest Tommy Dr. Like there's nobody else in the entire country that can, but nope, there you go. That's bought, approved, and paid for by Major League Baseball and the owners.
By the way, you remember when Alex Manoah coming up for the Blue Jays, like, hey, this guy could be something here. And then mysteriously was just like out of baseball and in like single A baseball. Well, he explains the mindset after joining the Angels roster. Quote, big leagues is like the lion and the gazelle. The gazelle wakes up in the morning. He knows he has to outrun the slowest lion or he's going to be dinner. And then the lion wakes up in the morning knowing he's got to go catch the slowest gazelle so he can feed his family. Long story short, you got to wake up and run. Joe, come on now. Can't he just say, I'm hungry to get back into Major League Baseball? What was that about?
Yeah, exactly. What is that all about here, Donnie? Kind of crazy. I know, exactly correct. Unreal. Yeah, I'm a little bit. I'm a little tired of it. I really am, to tell you the truth. Kind of gets
gazelles and lions chasing each other. Hey, brother, just get out there and pitch, man. Throw strikes. Stay in Major League Baseball. We don't have to chase any gazelles.
Come on. Come on. Like what? What are you doing, man? Let's go out and do your job, Donnie. Never had this issue prior, though. Amazing, right? Never heard this before. Ever.
Go Chicago Cubs, Joe. 15 straight wins at home and also won 9 games in a row for the second time of the year. Like, yeah, it's September 30th. That's great. No, we're only in the month of May. They've done it twice already, Joe. Those Cubbies.
Yeah, it is impressive, to say the least, what they've done and what was and has been, Donnie, I think one of the more competitive divisions in all of Major League Baseball. So that Central Division, do we have anybody under 500 now? I mean, so the Cubs have no choice but to keep winning games because somebody's coming, it doesn't look like the Cardinals are losing anytime soon. So pretty good stuff there by Chicago.
Jason Dominguez was supposed to be Babe Ruth, Derek Jeter, and, I don't know, Roger Clemens all rolled into one here as a player. He's going to go on the IL with a low-grade AC sprain in his left shoulder, but he did have a negative test for a concussion. And by the way, is that picture photoshopped? Like, did they just bring a card out and he just rode, like, shotgun and took him off the field? Is that a real photo? That's tremendous.
That is actually tremendous here. But, I think that makes room now for Aaron Judge Jr. there and Spencer Jones, who the Yankees just for some reason refuse to bring up, mostly because either it's a home run or strikes out. I wouldn't mind playing football with this Yankees team now with the size of some of these people. Like between Stanton, Jones, and Aaron Judge, these are some big dudes.
Joe, is it ever like the Yankees players when they get called up forget to answer like the right field seats with the roll call? Have you ever heard that? And if they do, does the roll call just scream at them the entire game until they do acknowledge them?
Yeah, exactly correct. Somebody's gonna be like, "Is that Aaron? Judge? Like, what is that? Is that like no, Spencer Jones? Same thing. Looks just like, but same thing. Yes, exactly."
Or, Joe, by the way, here's the fight for why we need names on the back of the jerseys. Did you ever run a player out there and they had no idea who that player was and just called him by the number? Hey, you never know, man. Roll call by the Yankees in the Bronx. He's going to get that here in a rite of passage in New York. Roman Anthony is going to the IL with a wrist injury. We heard, Joe, maybe day-to-day, little discomfort. Not a good sign for the Boston Red Sox with one of their young talents.
Yeah, and now they literally have no power in that lineup at all. It's just not good, Donnie. I mean, it's gone from bad to worse. But what do you do now when you go on another losing streak and Alex Cora's not there to fire? Who are you going to blame?
Joe, I need help with this next story. Put this graphic up on Matthew Boyd because that's where I want to start right now, Joe. Yahoo Sports. Are you telling me these 4 kids blew this guy's knee out, Joe? Those kids hurt a professional athlete? I need more to this story, Joe.
I do too, Donnie. I think where there's smoke, there's fire here, though. You know what I mean? Could have been a stop, drop, and roll situation here. Usually what happens with that, Donnie, is Boyd was probably trying to avoid running the kids over, and that's how he hurt himself.
Oh, man, the topics just continue to flow. It's Joe Raineri and Donnie Rightside right on the SportsGrid Network. We will be right back.
We are going to be strapped with a whole lot of bad football, watching mediocre teams that have absolutely no business in the postseason getting blown off the field by the elite heavyweights, all for our viewing pleasure. They are even willing to trample right over the historic Army-Navy game, which apparently, we'll figure out at one point where we can play this game.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I don't blame David Stearns at all for looking at the team and saying, hey, look, with this high payroll and with all the players we have, Donnie, they have not won anything. They did not even get in the postseason last year. So they're like, all right, let's break it up and try something new. But their new plan has not worked. It doesn't look good on paper. It doesn't look good in the standings. Even if the Mets were to play okay the rest of the season, I think their season is a wrap.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all four.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
Betting growth was up about 40% year over year in March. So some of that obviously was the NCAA tournament, but a lot of that is because DraftKings and FanDuel were coming to town and bringing a lot of money with them. It was about $87 million was bet in the month of March, which is not only a March record, but it's a record for Arkansas in general. And it was really interesting to note too, DraftKings and FanDuel were only active for about 12 days.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Flyers roundhouse the Pittsburgh Penguins in round number 1 of the NHL playoffs before getting roundhoused right now by the Carolina Hurricanes. But Sidney Crosby, one of the best players to ever lace him up in the NHL, Joe. We got a little video from old Crosby here. How about this? Let's go.
Sliding on my butt and my feet are forward. Usually I hit with my feet and my legs come up. My left foot hit and went up, but my right foot stuck in the boards. Usually my heels will bring me up and my legs will be above my head kind of, but my right foot's stuck and there's nothing you can do. I mean, just bad luck.
There you go. How about that? A little Sidney Crosby back in the day. Dr. Seuss, is it going to be a book coming his way soon? Book tour?
I don't know. I'm trying to visualize as he's speaking. Like, I'm like, what are we doing there? Very strange. Donnie, very, very strange.
All right, I got some good news for here coming up, Joe. Ready for this? Breaking. The Professional Women's Hockey League is finalizing a deal to expand to Hamilton, Ontario, becoming the latest city to receive an expansion franchise after Detroit was announced on Monday morning. Now, Joe, when you think about Hamilton here, do you think about maybe in the mid-1980s, a young kid like Dean Youngblood trying out for the Mustangs, making the team here, Patrick Swayze playing center, Carl Racky on the opposite side, Peter Zezel filling in for some of the filming here. That's what I think of when I think of Hamilton here. They're going to bring back the Mustangs. They don't need a women's hockey league. Bring the Mustangs back there and put them in business. Come on, Hamilton.
That would be nice, but, again, nice having a little, having some diversity going on there. A little something for everybody in Hamilton. Do they have the Tiger Cat still? I'm not even sure if that's even the right Hamilton. But, yeah, I'm all for it. Actually, you know what? I would actually go to a game, Donnie. I would.
And by the way, Youngblood, one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid. Loved hockey, loved Youngblood overall. But as we know, like real life, Joe, like if you can't fight all the way up to 18, getting training for like one day and then you knock out the biggest, baddest guy in the league. And look, that's why we love movies, because you can always live through that. That probably wasn't happening at this point here. But I'll tell you, hockey players are crazy. Look at this next story, Joe. It was revealed today that Mikko Rantanen, one of the best players in the NHL, played through a torn MCL he suffered at the Olympics. Stars GM Jim Nill said he hoped he could have an extra couple weeks to recover, but Rantanen was activated off the IR on March 28th. These guys play with broken legs, torn up knees, and you never hear about it until their season is done.
It's just they're different. I think we hear it every year. We hear about these stories after every postseason, after every Stanley Cup, right? This guy had a broken this guy had that. He's had multiple. I mean, Kachuk with the spleen and everything else a couple of years. They're like, what is... And meanwhile, we got, Anunoby might be out tonight with he's got a sore hamstring. Don't know if he can go. It's laughable, the difference between the NHL players and the level of toughness with the NHL players, Donnie, and just about everyone else except the NFL.
Is it the Carolina Hurricanes, Joe, or is it the Carolina Brindamores? Why do we bring that up? Darren Ravel with a tweet here, and he says this is one of the craziest stats you'll ever see. Take a look at this stat. Rod Brindamore, head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes, by the way, former Flyer, great player or head coach, in 92 of the Hurricanes' 94 all-time playoff wins, 98%. That's incredible. This guy is Mr. Hurricane.
He really is Mr. Hurricane, but he's Mr. Flyer, who we can, Donnie. Going to be Mr. Flyer for everyone. People remember Brindamore for the Flyers, but he hasn't been able to get, over that hard. He hasn't been able to get there. Couldn't get past Tampa, couldn't get past Florida. Is this the year, Donnie? Is this it? Could this be the year of the Brindamore?
Could be. How about the year of McJesus? Let's hear from Connor McDavid here.
This year felt like there was a big turnover. Those young teams are not young, losing teams. They're really good teams with great players. San Jose is the same way. How long before Chicago figures it out? Utah's right there too. So it was a big kind of changeover year, and we got to get going.
What I'm getting from him is that he wants to be a Philadelphia Flyer, Joe. Did you get the same exact vibe that I just heard from him?
Yeah, I heard, I'm hearing him. I think actually it was code for I want to be a New York Ranger is what I am hearing, not Flyer. New York Ranger.
By the way,
we all know he's going to end up in Florida because you can't beat him, you join him.
The Flyers game last night, they lost 4-1. And I saw somebody tweet out a statistical fact, Joe. Over the past 5 years, the Flyers have the worst power play on a 5-year stretch of any team in the history of the NHL. Just to put it last night, 4-1 win by the Hurricanes. They scored 3 special teams goals. 2 on a power play, 1 shorthanded. Just decline the penalties then, Flyers. You'll be better off at this point. I'm worked up here. We're not even in hour number 2 yet, Joe. And that comes next. Stick with us here.
We are going to be strapped with a whole lot of bad football, watching mediocre teams that have absolutely no business in the postseason getting blown off the field by the elite heavyweights, all for our viewing pleasure. They are even willing to trample right over the historic Army-Navy game, which apparently, we'll figure out at one point where we can play this game.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I don't blame David Stearns at all for looking at the team and saying, hey, look, with this high payroll and with all the players we have, Donnie, they have not won anything. They did not even get in the postseason last year. So they're like, all right, let's break it up and try something new. But their new plan has not worked. It doesn't look good on paper. It doesn't look good in the standings. Even if the Mets were to play okay the rest of the season, I think their season is a wrap.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all 4.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
Betting growth was up about 40% year over year in March. So some of that obviously was the NCAA tournament, but a lot of that is because DraftKings and FanDuel were coming to town and bringing a lot of money with them. It was about $87 million was bet in the month of March, which is not only a March record, but it's a record for Arkansas in general. And it was really interesting to note too, DraftKings and FanDuel were only active for about 12 days.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Hour number 2 officially underway. The early line. Donnie Rightside, Joe Raineri. 1 more hour to go. 2 great guests in this hour. Tom Vecchio and Kevin Walsh. Also, PME coming midway through. And don't you forget, Friday is payday. Some best bets coming to you along the way. We got extra games in hockey tonight. Extra games in the NBA. I told you I can't wait for Saturday night's game for a chance to take the Los Angeles Lakers because the refs will hold up their end of the bargain. And that one maybe for the Lakers side in perspective, Joe. We got 1 hour to the weekend for the people, Joe. Let's give them what they want.
Yeah, we got a lot going on here. A lot of backs against the wall kind of situations. You got to love urgency in sports, Donnie. That's what it's all about. We got plenty of it coming up here this weekend.
Money, Joe. And you know what? Money is what moves the world because we just saw an NCAA action. You hate the expansion. I don't really care. It makes more money. It is what it is. People will watch. And away we go. College football is interesting to me, Joe, because last year, like doing the college football show, myself and Joe Lisi, like week 0 is like, yeah, it really is a 0 at this point. But how about this? Next year, there's going to be an NCAA football game taking place at BMO Field. If you don't know where that is, that's in Toronto. So you go, that's interesting here. Yeah, it's Syracuse and Wake Forest. Sell it out, Joe. Huge eyeballs, or what are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a few Syracuse fans will cross the bridge there into Toronto and from Buffalo and watch the game. But yeah, I don't know if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there to actually see it. Does it really make a sound here? Congrats, college football, giving us a game nobody asked for.
By the way, like if Syracuse was coming off like an unbelievable season, like, hey, they got a lot of momentum moving forward, but Wake Forest and Syracuse in Toronto, doesn't really move the needle all that much. Now, I like stories like this coming up because I think I know what happened, but nobody will ever admit it. Yahoo Sports, Florida State and Georgia have canceled their scheduled home-and-home series in 27 and 28, which means the two programs are now discussing a neutral site matchup in the near future. To me, this sounds like Florida State's like, we can't take another browbeating, and you are going to smash our heads in 27 and 28. We got to get out of this, and we will make up an excuse.
Yeah, well, I mean, because Florida State's like, what? So you mean to tell me there's going to be 28 teams that get to make the playoff? And why in the world would I want to play a team like Georgia if I don't have to? Let me play Mercer. Let me reschedule because there's no reason to actually push the envelope because none of it matters. We're all making the playoffs.
By the way, is the last time they played where that was that murder down in South Beach, like it felt like it was 66-0 because Florida State was so upset that they didn't actually make it into the college football playoff? Maybe they don't want to see a repeat of that with starters out there on the field. Well, time will tell. We'll certainly understand that. And I doubt they're going to play a neutral. And where's the neutral site game going to be, Joe? Atlanta? Like where are you playing this neutral site game at?
Oh, it only makes sense to play it in the Bahamas, Donnie, because I think that's where they should go. There's no bowl games. You might as well go to the Bahamas.
Bring back the Popeyes Bowl with this. Let's get to those hot topics, Joe, in the early lineup for a Friday, which includes Aaron Rodgers. You say to yourself, like, oh, man, I'm waiting with bated breath right here. We got an MVP-type candidate, 32 years old, in the middle of his prime. I hope he picks our team and plays for us. And then we got 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers, who was a disaster already in Pittsburgh, holding this franchise hostage once again. Like, if you are a Steelers fan, there's two things in the NFL that most teams want. It's a team that's okay. We're young and we're building. Let's see what happens. Or, Joe, we're a championship-caliber team. Let's make a deep run. Where are the Pittsburgh Steelers? Like, are their fans excited? Like, ooh, I hope he picks us again. What does that mean? Maybe 500?
The way it is framed is great too, right? Like Aaron Rodgers is visiting, like he's on a recruiting trip, right? And which I get, it's just so is he visiting to like if he's there to sign, just say Aaron Rodgers on his way to Pittsburgh to sign the contract for another year. Like what are we doing? Are we whining and dining Aaron Rodgers, hoping that he signs with the team? Apparently.
You know what the best part about this is, Joe? Because you hit the nail on the head. He played for them last year. And you go, well, hold on. It's a new head coach. It's Mike McCarthy. He's got millions of games with Mike. Like, what are we doing? Like, I could see when he gets called back to New York and Aaron Glenn's like, yeah, buddy, I'm bouncing you right on out of here. And it's like, I don't know you. I don't want you here. But he was a Steeler. You're right. Is he going through the practice facility? Is he walking? Hey, this is where your locker is going to be. Can you envision the stands here at, Acrisure Stadium cheering your name? He's already been there at this point, Joe.
It's very strange the way it was, contextualized there with the Aaron Rodgers is on his way to visit. First of all, why would anybody go visit Pittsburgh? He's either going there to sign his contract or not, Donnie, period.
Yeah. Hear me out on this,
Unreal.
Joe. Sometimes you need signs from above. The NCAA, Joe, answer this question for me. How many teams did they approve now to play next year in the NCAA tournament? Do you know how many teams?
Yeah, I do, Donnie, unfortunately. Yes. Yeah. 76.
Look at that number.
76.
Now, you hear that number 76. There's a team tonight playing in the NBA, 76. I'm not saying you might have to take them. I'm not saying you might have to watch our best bets coming up, but just keep that there. But as Joe opened up hour number one, if you missed it, loves the 76 teams, actually wants more teams in the NCAA. Before he gets a chance to respond, we'll move over to Real Madrid here. Double booked here, Joe. Fights and also kicking Mbappe out at the same time. Oh, it sounds like madness over there, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, who'da thunk it? It's getting pretty violent over there. We got fights, we got guys getting hurt, knocked out.
Jeez.
$200 million players here that nobody likes, can't figure out if he's coming back or not. Nobody wants him. A lot of pandemonium going on right now.
Doesn't sound like they faked. Joe, you get touched in the back of the leg and it's like your career's over. Get the stretcher out here. I don't think they were faking it this time. Maybe the first time we've actually seen real contact in soccer taking place in an absolute fight with Real Madrid. Tough scene overall at that point here as we go. But, Joe, the NFL, they always want more money, and they're going to Netflix. And they're saying, we're going to give you a game in Australia that's played Thursday, Friday, depending on which actual time zone you're in. And, you're going to pay up for it. And the people, you'll watch it and you'll like it. And by the way, it's a good matchup, too. Rams, Niners, Thursday, September 10th.
It's a great matchup, Donnie, is what it is. But is there any further away you can go? I guess you're going to go with the two West Coast teams because they are going to be, I guess, that much closer to halfway around the world. But, that's going to be interesting. Well, how does the schedule work with that, though, Donnie? Like, do they get 3 weeks off? Like, how does that work on the way back?
Like, try explaining this to like your 5-year-old kid. Like, hey, he's a big Rams fan. Hey, get this. They're going to play this game on Thursday night. You're going to watch it. But they're actually playing this game on a Friday. Guys, that's when you know, what are we doing, NFL? Just keep it at home. You know who would like that home game? Maybe the Rams in their own building. How about that? Philadelphia Flyers, maybe they didn't want a home game last night. 4-1 loss. Played tough, 2-1 through 3 periods, but special teams will kill you in the playoffs. It's the battle of attrition. Get good goalie play. The Hurricanes get that. Get great special teams play. Penalty kill and power play. They got that. The Flyers, they're just spinning their wheels at this point right now. 4-1, 3-0 series lead for the Canes.
Yeah, listen, nobody really thought that they were going to win this anyway, Donnie. Even you understood that maybe gentleman sweep, but it's looking less and less like that, more like a get your golf clubs ready, Flyers, because it's about to be over.
Yeah, come on, not Brendan. Brendan Moore was the ultimate flyer. Rod the Bod. This guy was the workout warrior
tough.
here. The fans loved him here. Yeah. Rod, give us one in Game 4. And by the way, your owner will love that as well. Losing Game 4, go home for Game 5, make a couple $1 million for the owner. Everybody will love you here. We'll see if that plays out. How about those Los Angeles Lakers? We got Kevin Walsh joining us next year, and I want his input. I'm telling you right now, could it be the lock of the century, Joe, to take the Lakers on a Saturday night after they were screaming about the referees? And by the way, thank you, referees. See that final score, Joe? That's a cover for your boy DRS right there.
Or nothing is going to change, and it's going to be Scott Foster, the ref, and it's going to be all about OKC and advancing there. But anybody heard from Luka? Is he going to be available? Is he rubbing some deer antler juice on that hammy? How's it work?
Is Pelinka going to pull beers away from him post-game at this point right now? You don't play, you don't get a beer at this point here. Kevin Walsh joins us next on the Game Time Decisions. We will be right back after this short break.
We are going to be strapped with a whole lot of bad football, watching mediocre teams that have absolutely no business in the postseason getting blown off the field by the elite heavyweights, all for our viewing pleasure. They are even willing to trample right over the historic Army-Navy game, which apparently, we'll figure out at one point where we can play this game.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I don't blame David Stearns at all for looking at the team and saying, hey, look, with this high payroll and with all the players we have, Donnie, they have not won anything. They did not even get in the postseason last year. So they're like, all right, let's break it up and try something new. But their new plan has not worked. It doesn't look good on paper. It doesn't look good in the standings. Even if the Mets were to play okay the rest of the season, I think their season is a wrap.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all four.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
Betting growth was up about 40% year over year in March. So some of that obviously was the NCAA tournament, but a lot of that is because DraftKings and FanDuel were coming to town and bringing a lot of money with them. It was about $87 million was bet in the month of March, which is not only a March record, but it's a record for Arkansas in general. And it was really interesting to note too, DraftKings and FanDuel were only active for about 12 days.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It's a Friday, getting your day started with us on the Early Line on the SportsGrid Network. It's the way to do it. By the way, morning time, you get your early line, you get some action there, you watch SportsGrid all throughout the day, and then right before the games, you say to yourself, hey, where do I go? What do I do? It's Game Time Decisions here. It's Donnie Rightside, it's Raineri, and the host of that, Kevin Walsh, 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern, getting you ready for a 7 p.m. Philadelphia 76ers game tonight against those New York Knicks. Kevin, welcome in. It's a Friday. Get energized.
Yeah, ready to roll here on a Friday as well. So a lot going on, man. A lot going on in the world of sport.
Yeah, we got big topics to get to here. And also, you know me, Kevin, I live for these days. Like, Shams Charania tweet comes out and they try to tell me, like, hey, by the way, he's got to tweet this hammy. They're looking into it. And then Dr. Donnie comes right away. There's no need to look into that. You just retweet that out there. This guy's out tonight, and he will be. Yeah. But, Kevin, before we get to the games tonight, Los Angeles Lakers last night, and I love conspiracy theories. I love anger issues. I love Twitter absolutely going crazy about the foul calls here in SGA's, a merchant getting to the line. Austin Reeves almost got his arm torn out. Give me last night's action, because for me, I didn't think there was any way that they cover the 15.5 halfway through that game, looking at some of the updates. They did. I loved it. But what was your perspective of this series so far with the refs?
So I want to say I had a bunch of tweets last night complaining about the refs, but not through the lens of like, oh, they're jobbing the Lakers.
Yeah.
They're in the bag for Oklahoma City. No, because that would be stupid. Again, if the refs were going to fix the game and the result, it would be the other way. No, it was just guys being bad at their job. The beginning of the game, they were like, what if we just didn't have whistles? And it was so out of control that J.J. Redick had to challenge an offensive foul on Ayton that was being reviewed for a flagrant, right? That ended up getting overturned and being a foul on Chet Holmgren. Then the rest were like, okay, we'll call everything a foul. Like, what? Yep, everything's a foul. And then they got into the middle of the game. They're like, okay, how about this? If you flop, it's a foul. But if you go up strong, it's not. It's like, that seems backwards. So, like, Austin Reeves and A.J. Mitchell are living at the line. But, like, Chet Holmgren and LeBron can't buy a call. Then we got to the point, SGA got called for a foul, being reviewed for a flagrant. Dagnall's like, I'm going to, you know what? I'll challenge that one. Nope, just a flagrant foul. Just a flagrant foul. It was truly, and you know I don't want to say this, Donnie, it was an awful watch. Like, the officials made it an awful watch. And we are now 2 for 2 on Thunder covers that have not gone the way you usually anticipate. And what I mean by that is 20-point halftime lead, 35-point, three-quarter lead. Nobody plays in the fourth. Instead, you're entering these fourth quarters if you're holding a Laker ticket or a Thunder ticket being like, my goodness, man, like, could the Lakers steal this game? And then they lose by 18. So now they're going back to Los Angeles. I still imagine, I think the Lakers are as likely to lose a game in this series by 35 as they are to steal a game. So I wonder if that's the pattern we're set to follow.
Yeah.
James Harden. Yeah.
Sure.
Outstanding. Outstanding job again last night. Really great acquisition there. Can't blame Mitchell here, but it just feels like the three of them can't get on the same page. Mobley nowhere to be found. Donovan Mitchell shows up. No James Harden. And here we go again. Like, they really are not that good a team right now, are they, Kevin?
Love how you put it. Can I offer up a backhanded, we have backhanded compliments, a backhanded defense of James Harden. Last year in a game 7 against Denver while he was a Clipper, people were like, wow, he was awful again. What a nightmare for his legacy. And I'm like, guys, how are you still asking questions about Harden's legacy? That has been settled up for a very long time. And so my defense of Harden is, I do not understand why everyone is watching in his prime Mitchell or in his prime Mobley and like, you know whose fault this really is? 37-year-old Harden not showing up. Guys, of course, James Harden had 10 points on 3 of 13 shooting with 4 turnovers. Of course that's what happened. What are you talking about? I don't even, again, like, man, Kenny Atkinson ripping a coach of the year and then following it up the next season. Like, what if Dennis Schroeder ran my offense for large portions of this basketball game? And we talked about this as well, I think, the three of us. I couldn't believe how many people, after the Pistons and the Cavs each went 7, thought the Pistons going 7 was more offensive and embarrassing and damning than what Cleveland did.
Kim, we got some fun stuff tonight. Doubleheader in the association. 7 o'clock tonight, Philadelphia 76ers and the New York Knicks. Late game tonight, 9:30, San Antonio Spurs and the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Sixers listed as a favorite. A lot up in the air. OG Anunoby is not playing tonight. And if he does, he'll tear his hamstring in the first quarter. You won't see him the rest of the playoffs. Number 2, Joel Embiid. He couldn't even get the shoot around 2 days ago. Now, is he going to reappear tonight? Is that baked into the line? What are you seeing tonight, Knicks Sixers?
I think the books have thrown their hands up a little bit. They knew just kind of from desperation and, home court advantage, they had to shift this thing. Embiid's this weird one where, like, he's on the injury report for an ankle. They should be like, you don't have to put anything. Like, we know he's hurt. Don't worry about it. Like, is that what I'm really worried about? Like, Embiid's ankle? Like, I don't know. I don't understand the OG thing at all, though, Donnie. Listen, I know that this is kind of your wheelhouse, but Luka Doncic is out for basically a season, it feels like. Jalen Williams is out a month. So for Shams to be like, might play game 3, it's a day-to-day. What hamstring injury did he get? Like, did he get a dead leg, Donnie? Did someone prank him and punch him in the quad? He's like, you know what? I might miss the next game. I can't figure that out.
No, here's how hamstrings go.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to be a doctor. You have the sniper shot, which means you run and you fall down, which means you tore that thing.
Yeah.
Or you have the one that goes, ooh, I felt a twinge. Either way, you ain't playing the next game. And quite frankly, you might not see him for the series. Be like, hey, it's game 6. I thought he was going to be back. Hamstring injuries are wild at this point. But, Kevin, real quick, Thunder Lakers, I'm telling you. Maybe I got to call Joe Lisi up. Maybe a smash job, game of the decade here. Lakers get the cover Saturday. What do you think?
Donnie, it feels like they can win one and lose the other by $1 billion. You just have, but again, that's what I thought about the first 2 games, and they just both were 18-point losses.
Lakers on a Saturday. We'll be right back, people.
We are going to be strapped with a whole lot of bad football, watching mediocre teams that have absolutely no business in the postseason getting blown off the field by the elite heavyweights, all for our viewing pleasure. They are even willing to trample right over the historic Army-Navy game, which apparently, we'll figure out at one point where we can play this game.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I don't blame David Stearns at all for looking at the team and saying, hey, look, with this high payroll and with all the players we have, Donnie, they have not won anything. They did not even get in the postseason last year. So they're like, all right, let's break it up and try something new. But their new plan has not worked. It doesn't look good on paper. It doesn't look good in the standings. Even if the Mets were to play okay the rest of the season, I think their season is a wrap.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all 4.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
Betting growth was up about 40% year over year in March. So some of that obviously was the NCAA tournament, but a lot of that is because DraftKings and FanDuel were coming to town and bringing a lot of money with them. It was about $87 million was bet in the month of March, which is not only a March record, but it's a record for Arkansas in general. And it was really interesting to note too, DraftKings and FanDuel were only active for about 12 days.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
We're hunting for bargains here on a Friday. Had some fun with Kevin Walsh. Catch Game Time Decisions. Gabe and Kevin, 6 p.m. Eastern to 7 p.m. Eastern tonight. Getting you ready right up to the Sixers game. And yes, the WNBA opening night tonight. But sooner than later, Joe, we're going to have an opening night in FIFA, the World Cup coming to North America. Canada's going to be a host. The U.S. is going to be a host. Mexico's going to be a host. But how about these tickets, Joe? And how about President Trump? Hey, man, what do you think about these $1,000 tickets to the opener against Paraguay? He's like, yeah, it's expensive. I wouldn't pay that. And apparently, not a lot of people paying it right now. Is there a chance that U.S. on your home soil not going to be a sellout because nobody cares about these ticket prices and they're too high, Joe?
Well, I mean, they'll sell them out, but it won't be to anybody who. Yeah, they'll sell them out, but it won't be to A, any real soccer fans. B, anybody who knows any of the players on there. No, all of those folks will be out in the parking lot or stuck watching it someplace else because they can't afford to get in the building. But there will be no shortage of people who say, oh, look at me, I'm at the game right now. I have no idea what's going on. I don't even know what sport this is.
Joe, do you want a corrupt politician playbook right now that I can give you? Let's just put it in right. I'm going to give it in terms to you that the people can understand. We're going to put a mandatory 15% tax down now for this World Cup. Wait a second. That's going to change everything. All right. Compromise. We'll change it to 10%. Awesome. Thank you. But wait, it's really like 7 or 8% at this point. What? No. We cut it back to 10. We're heroes. So now flip it over to New Jersey. New Jersey Transit, Joe. they're going to reduce their round-trip rail prices from the World Cup from $150 to $105 after securing a sponsorship here. So that means thank you, man. I didn't want to pay the $150. Now it's on the $105. That's awesome. And then you realize it should be basically $15. So they think they're the conquering heroes because they did us a favor by still charging roughly 5 times the amount? It feels like 10 times the amount.
Yeah, it kind of feels right. Like jack it up and then, scale it back to where, it probably should have started to begin with. And then you're like, oh, I'm a hero. I'm like, look at that. We figured it. It's like the oldest negotiation trick in the world. Like, just ask for, 50x what you would have settled for to begin with and let them come back down for you. Unreal.
Hey, how much do you think it's going to cost to fix my car? $250. You show up. By the way, over cost. It's just $1,000. I can't afford that. How about $750? Thank you so much for that. Wait a second.
Yeah.
It's $500 less than this point. Stop it with the corrupt politicians here. Charge the $12.90 and have fun and make it affordable for everybody, Joe. Now it's time on a Friday. We're reaching out to the public. Here's our Fade the Public poll. Right into it, Joe. We asked the public about this ticket requirement and the prices and what you're going to do, pay, or maybe you don't care. 4 options. Disgraceful. It's a grab. Just go to the bar and I don't watch soccer. All evenly playing out right in front of you, Joe. People upset. Nobody wants to pay these tickets. I thought FIFA was the world's games. Should they be like, hey, I understand secondary market, but if you want a chance to buy them, 15, 20, 30, 45 bucks. We make our money on TV. Everybody goes home happy. No, that's not the case.
Yeah, no, that's not the case there. But I think it will get some traction early, Donnie. But ultimately, I think it'll just fade into the back like it always does, especially once Team USA can't get out of the group stage. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Oh, boy, ratings going to tank at this point. Hatred all over the place, just the way it is, Joe. But it is a Friday. It is payday. We're going to give the people what they want. Here's bye, bye, bye. Joe, smoking hot coming into yesterday. Still sitting, Joe, 3-1 on the week you are, which means automatically a winning week. But now you can press it to the limit with a 4-1 today. Where do we go with your best bets?
We're going to go to the Spurs and Timberwolves, Donnie. And if it ain't broke, we're not going to fix it. Timberwolves 30-14 to the under at home this season. They're already 3-0 to the under in the playoffs. That's their best shot at winning this game. We know San Antonio can absolutely play defense. I think this is going to be a rock fight of all rock fights. I'm taking the under here tonight.
For me, I'm going to the NBA and the association, which treated me so kindly yesterday. We're going to do it again today. I'm taking the Philadelphia 76ers. They were the dog. Now they're the actual favorite, Joe. -1.5, despite the ticket count only being between 40 to 45% coming in on Philadelphia. OG Anunoby will not play tonight. One of the best players in that lineup for the New York Knicks. And also, 7.5 to 8.5 here as those spreads here without Joel Embiid in New York now turn into a Sixers favorite. Yeah, I'm buying that line tonight. We're fading the public with the Philadelphia 76ers. And now, PME on TEL. It's coming up next. Let's have some fun. It's a Friday, people.
At the end of the day, LeBron's going to have to put that team on his back. Can he do it? I don't know if he could do it for a 7-game series. Can he give you 2, oh my goodness, LeBron at 31? Yeah, I think he can give you a couple of those games. But it's about the other guys that have to step up.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Let me understand this, Joe. Are we going to have any broadcast games on TV anymore? It's all streaming?
You got to pay to watch here, folks. That's just the way it's going to be, one way or the other. And I'm sure this will satisfy, the FCC looking into the coercion that's going on here with the NBA NFL broadcast rights. Yeah, this is all par for the course, I think.
The Early Line. only on SportsGrid.
There's all these idiots out there sounding off on Tiger right now. See, it's so easy to go after a guy that's hurt. He's hurt. Whether you call it whatever you want. He's got a little bit of an issue that he's going to fix. Okay? They're attacking. Attack. Why don't you all shut up and let him go do his thing? He had to leave the country to do it because of privacy? That's nauseating to me.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Now, I see him 15th, 16th, somewhere in that ballpark, and I think that makes sense, Donnie. I don't see him in the top 10. I really don't. I mean, when you look at, let's say, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, you start going into that, teams like the Cowboys or the Vikings or the Chiefs, and, could they take a flyer?
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.